We're heading off to fight Colossus 11. This Colossus is going to challenge our notions of what a Colossus is in various ways. For now, let's just look at the space we're encountering it in. We know a couple things about this space because we've already been told some information from Dorman. We know that this is some sort of altar. We know that the Colossus here is a guardian, and specifically we know it guards the flames. The flames in these areas give it a sort of somber feel. I don't want to read too much into what's going on in the space, but it always makes me think of some sort of sacrificial altar compared to, say, the prison or arena space that we saw when we fought Kuromori. So now we need to enter into the space and fight the next Colossus. This is Colossus 11, Celosia. Kalos in Greek means burned, and you'll understand why it's named that in a minute or two. This is one of the smallest Colossus in the game. Already it's challenging our notion of what it means to be a Colossus. This is a simple puzzle, and I don't really want to go into it too much, but we need to just have it attack us while we're up here. The flames draw our eyes, so it's not really hard to put two and two together in that account. The problem here is that if it charges at us, it's going to probably hit us, and it's possible for the creature to actually put us in an infinite loop where it does perpetual damage to us. See, it hit me right there, and I'm very slow to get up. You can probably hear me bashing my muttons, bashing the buttons right now. I don't know what muttons are. Mutton chops? I certainly don't have any of those. But see, now we have to get the piece of wood that fell on fire, and this is why I find this Colossus so fascinating. It's actually afraid of the flame. Ignoring the fact that that makes its position as a guardian sort of strange, take a look at its body language and really examine the way it's behaving. It's genuinely afraid, and it's possibly one of the only times we've seen any form of emotion from the Colossi. Now that we understand that the Colossus here, and possibly all the Colossi, may have true emotions behind the masks, we have to consider what our actions are. It's a small moment in the game, but it really recontextualizes everything we've been doing. Now the killing seems even more, just sort of uncomfortable. With that said, though, I'm still going to try and jump down and use a jump slash on its back. Well, the jump slash didn't work, but I did land right on its back, so I'll call that, you know, a decent little bit of play. For a Colossus of such small size, it's actually very difficult to deal with. We have a similar feeling here kinesthetically of the encounter we had with Avion. The difference is there that when we were on Avion, the actual rules of the mechanics of holding on to things and moving about were literally changed, which is why I say that there was ludic pressure or ludic tension in that moment. Here, nothing's changed except the scale of the encounter. So while we might have a certain feeling, I don't think anything is being caused by the gameplay. I think it's all a juxtaposition of, say, the size of the Colossus and our expectations to, you know, about what we've considered Colossi to be up until this point. Still, I think this is one of the most important fights of the game. It's a small creature, making it look much more fragile than any of the beasts we've encountered. It seems very human, or at least as human as a Colossus might be, exhibiting fear. And so now we really sit back and we wonder, what are we doing? What's the cost of everything that's happening? What are we destroying? These aren't just things that contain Dorman's soul. These seem like actual creatures. Some of the animal Colossi felt that way, but in this case, now it feels really just real. There's something going on here that's different. Now when I see these shadows, as opposed to being scared, I feel kind of sad. They have a childlike quality to them, and as we destroyed a creature that showed actual fear at us, a very strange inversion of our general relationship with a Colossus, it really makes us sit back and feel sort of uncomfortable with our actions. This Colossus will have a lot of sort of comparisons that we'll make to the next one. The next one's a little bit more foreign in appearance, and it has some thematic things happening with its location that make it a nice complement to the Colossus and the area that we were just in. Even though we're fighting from time to time very alien-looking beings, or these sort of giant golem creatures, or even animals that seem really primal, after this point, especially when I first played the game, I had to really sit back and wonder exactly what was going on. I almost want to sit here and think about it a little more. What bits of Dorman are we killing? Are the separate bits that we're killing capable of having certain emotional states? Is something like Gaius, a militarized Colossus, a symbol of Dorman's anger, while something like Celosia is a symbol of Dorman's fear? I don't know. It's hard to imbue all of that meaning into the space. The game leaves it so open that I don't think that there's any right interpretation of this anymore. All of a sudden, we're tossed into a world where we sort of had symbols we thought were consistent, and now the game is sort of messing with those symbols. Anyway, I'm probably thinking way too deeply, but you know what? It's still worth it. It's still worth the consideration. All in all, though, I'd say that was a pretty good boss fight, and we're going to move on to the next one very shortly.